Welcome back. This is day 7 of the new system I've been doing, in which I analyze my Lichess rapid game from the night before and then do something else chess related after that to help me get better at chess. But today my time is a little bit more limited and I'm only going to have time to analyze this game. It said I have it says I have 8 blunders down here in the game review section at the bottom, so I don't even know if I'm going to have time to look at all of those, so I'm going to have to rush just a little bit. My opponent played e4 and I played the correspondence defense, and this part is all normal. I know I didn't blunder here. They pushed that forward, I pushed this forward, and then my opponent played c3. Here, I think I almost always get this knight out here, and I'm pretty sure that I'm normal at this point. Then my opponent played knight to f3, which is one of the common and expected moves, and usually I pin this knight over here with the bishop. It looks like that is one of my better moves, although taking this pawn would be best. I've reached this position dozens, even as many as 100 times, if you count all the blitz games. I had no idea that Stockfish recommended taking here. Bishop to g4 is most common on the Lichess database and in the Masters database. Only 62 games have reached this position in Master games, but the bishop to g4 is most common. But it does look like black has a far higher winning percentage if they take the pawn. I did not realize that. So if I take this pawn, don't they just take back, and then what did we accomplish here? It says to do that and then play bishop to g4, and white doesn't win any of those games. What about in the Lichess Masters database? The Lichess Players database. Black does have a higher winning percentage. Okay, I just learned something about the correspondence defense. Right here, in this position, instead of getting this out first, I should take the pawn first, let them take me, then pin the knight. I guess in hopes to take this pawn. Okay, but this wasn't a blunder. My opponent played here and taking the knight. I'm pretty sure taking the knight is my best move. Okay, so I took advantage of that. Then my opponent took back with the queen, which is normal. And I take back this pawn, right? Yeah, okay, see, now I take the pawn, and when they take back, I get it, right? But they didn't take back. They checked here. Okay, this is the point of my first blunder. I should have just taken this pawn, and I would have had a very slight advantage. But instead, I went after the bishop. Okay, the problem with that is that they can get this pawn because my queen was defending that pawn. Okay, I get that. My opponent didn't see it. My opponent made the mistake of taking here, which of course I can take back, and now their queen can't get that pawn. My opponent made a further mistake of aiming their bishop at my queen, and I should have just taken it. I did take it. Okay, so I'm okay there. They take back, and then I'm supposed to move my queen here. I don't know what the problem was with just putting it there. I guess is that because, yeah, I don't know why that's a problem. That was just an inaccuracy though. My opponent castled, which was a mistake because it allows e6. Okay, I played e6. My opponent played an inaccuracy, and sorry, down here in the bottom outside of your field of view, it says reconnecting. Apparently, I disconnected from Lichess momentarily. All right. Well, in a recent game, when an opponent put a knight there in the path of my undeveloped bishop, it turned out to be my best move to take it, which helps develop a piece, helps me prepare to castle, and messes up their pawn structure. But this time, that was not best. I should have gotten the knight out. Okay, well, I did that, and that's inaccurate, but I still have a very slight lead even after they take back. My best move is knight to e7. I played that. They played their best move. I played my best move. I'm aiming here at this pawn, which of course they have defended, but the idea is to get the knight out and attack that pawn from over here. My opponent has 2 moves that work for them, and that was one of them. It aims at this knight, but that knight's defended, so I can go ahead and castle, right? I can go ahead and castle, or I could play c5, but I didn't do either of those. Why did I play this? Okay, that was another blunder. Sorry, right now it looked to me like I should castle. I didn't see this immediately, but I see it now that it's mentioned it. Oh, it actually says or queen to d7 would be fine. Well, I wanted to keep aiming this here. It says if I pushed the pawn forward, they would just put one of the rooks on that pawn, and then I would castle. But then they would get my pawn, and I don't know how I would still be ahead there. But yeah, I should have just castled here. I don't know why I did this. Okay, I understand that. Putting that rook on c1 is good, or bishop to c5. Oh, I know why I put the knight up there. I thought when they put this bishop here, they were trying to plant it inside here, protected by this, and I put my knight there to keep that from happening. But apparently, that was neither my opponent's plan nor one of their best moves, so I'm not sure why I was worried about it. They played g5 to go after the knight immediately, and I should put it on d4. I did. That goes after the queen. They played their best move. Okay, so we're even here. So none of those blunders that I've already covered were the blunders that lost me the game. c5 is one of my best moves. It protects the knight and threatens the bishop. They did move one of their rooks over to point at that. That allows me to take this pawn, which continues protecting the knight. My opponent should have moved one of their rooks over to point at my queen immediately, but instead they took that pawn, and I should have checked. Oh, okay. I see that. That's the only move that works here. It's the only move that's not a mistake or really a blunder. is checking here because I would win the rook for the knight because my queen's protecting that, so they're not going to take it. So they're going to have to move their king out of check. Oh, not here because my queen. So yeah, if I check them here, they would have two options to get out of check. Then I would take their rook. And then I assume they would take back with their rook, and I would just have gone up in exchange. Any other move is a blunder. I played the next move, which is here. Problem with that, I guess, is that it lines up with the rook, and it's undefended. My opponent should have threatened my queen with the rook just now, but they didn't. They brought their bishop back to immediately challenge the knight, which I figured they would do. I should have played d4. I guess I didn't consider d4. It looked like if I played d4, they would get my knight, and then I would get their bishop, and then they would also get a pawn. Right now I'm up one pawn. So they would get my knight, I would get their bishop with my pawn, but they would get the pawn back. We could trade queens there if we wanted to, but then my opponent, we would be even on material, so I don't know why that's my best move. If they don't take, which it says they wouldn't, it says they would drop their bishop back, then I could put my queen over here behind that pawn and help protect my knight. And that's the only move that keeps us even. Another move I can make is to protect the knight with my rook. But instead I dropped my queen back here to protect the knight. That was bad, because they can play queen to c3, lining up on it immediately. But instead they went here to line up on it immediately, and that's bad because I can protect it with my king. All right. Well, I didn't. I protected it with my rook, but now, even though that was one of my better moves a move earlier, it's not anymore. Rook to c5 is their best move. Okay. I'm not sure why. I know they want to double up rooks, but I don't know why c5 is so good, but c3 isn't. They played c3, which allows them to bring their other rook. Oh, that's a problem because I can play d4 now. All right. I see that. It's a pawn fork. It's protected by the knight. But wait, no, I can't move the knight. They would just take it. Because if I played here, they would take it. Then I would castle, and then they would put the bishop back, so my knight couldn't take it. So my best move here is just to give up a pawn? Well, or to protect the knight with the king, which would probably have been a mistake. Okay, well, no wonder I didn't see that. I castled first. That allows them to bring their other rook over, and I was behind the rest of the game. So it looks like where I first went behind was right here where I should have checked. Okay, so that's the blunder that lost me the game. Well, I mean, I see yeah, I should have been able to see that. Look for checks. It's protected by my queen. But even though my opponent didn't fully capitalize on this, everything else after that was an even more complex position that I didn't fully understand, and castling put me behind for good. But it was the knight move back here is really what lost me, because I should have been able to understand this. I think this is closer to an elementary or intermediate level blunder, and the reason that it's bad, as far as I can tell, is because it allows all that other stuff that just happened. Even though I probably could have squeezed out of it with best play after the next couple of moves because my opponent didn't fully capitalize, I think it would have been harder for me to figure out how to squeeze out of it. But here I think I could have been able to figure this out. I mean, if I look for checks, I see these two. Those aren't good, right? And then I look for checks, I see this one. Well, that's not good because the queen can just take it. So I should have been able to find this check, protected by the queen, take the rook. Okay, I got that. Thank you to those of you who have been sticking with me all this time, and those of you who've offered me advice. I really do appreciate it. I think this new system is probably actually going to be better for me at improving at chess. The only problem is that trying to do multiple things each day either makes one video really long or makes a bunch of videos, and that has been causing problems because it takes time to edit and format and upload and describe and tag and organize all these videos, in addition to making them where I learn some chess. So I'm going to continue to play with the format. I'm not locked into this. And today I don't even have time to do the second thing. Got to go pick up a prescription. Just got back from a doctor's office and so forth. Not for me, but never mind. It's none of your business. But anyway, I'm busy and I'm doing my best to squeeze chess in between the little crevices in my life. Hopefully you're doing well at chess and in the rest of your life as well. I'll see you next time.